Hi, and welcome to Macanori, where I'm reading to you from volume 1 of my supernatural crime thriller series. This is The Headhunter, and we're up to chapter 4. And Ellie is settling, she's making a new life for herself, and she's going to start to reconnect with some old friends. So I hope you're sitting comfortably, and let's begin. Over the next few weeks, Ellie pushed all thought of the past and the future from her mind as she focused on her new home. Her only concerns were what colour to paint the walls and what plants and flowers she wanted in the garden. She ditched her cane, the constant crutch a reminder of what had happened. So, gritting her teeth through the pain, Ellie climbed ladders as she coloured her house from top to bottom, the pain in her leg soon fading until, without noticing when it happened, Ellie found she was walking normally again. The evidence of her trauma was finally gone. Even the scars along her jaw were barely visible, resembling the long-ago stories etched elsewhere on her body. During this time, Ellie chose not to reach out to anyone except Vicki. Whether it was because she knew her friend would ignore her calls anyway, she didn't know. All she knew was, to get through to Vicki, she had to keep trying. Vicki hated it when Ellie didn't do as she wanted. She always had, and it irked Ellie, as the same didn't apply in reverse. Vicki had always done as she pleased, regardless of the consequences. The first time Ellie had disobeyed Vicki, she'd seen how volatile her friend could be, and yet she'd stuck by her. One friend, regardless of temperament, was better than none, especially in a place like Sackville School for Behavioural Difficulties. Ellie had stared down at her tray of food. As nice as it had smelled, she couldn't taste it. She'd tried. She had a funny taste in her mouth, but she didn't know what it was. It had reminded her of the smell from the overflowing ashtray at her Aunt Patty's house. Ellie had hated that smell, but that's all she could taste. She tried to block out what had happened to her that day, but she couldn't, not yet. One day, when she was stronger, she would. She'd have to. Ellie knew she wouldn't survive the place if she didn't. School? Really? Ellie snorted, wincing as pain shot through every part of her body. She might only be 7, but she knew what they'd done to her would not happen in a proper school. I told you to meet me here. Ellie winced again, this time at the high-pitched screech that grated through her battered head. She eased round, the effort bringing tears to her eyes, and saw Vicki standing at the table where they'd met the previous day. Vicki had slammed her tray down, and her food had spilled across the surface of the table in response. She stood facing Ellie, arms folded, foot tapping, eyes darting around the room. Hi, Vicki, Ellie said and smiled, the action making the bruises and cuts on her face smart. I told you we'd meet in the same place at the same time. Now get over here. Vicki stamped her foot and Ellie looked back down at her own tray. I'm sorry, Vicki, I can't. It hurts. Over here, now, as we agreed. Sit down and eat, Stevens, or we'll have to take you to the chamber. Ellie looked up to see an orderly standing in front of Vicki, his hand on her arm, but Vicki wasn't paying attention to him. She was focused on Ellie. Ellie, you promised, Vicki whined. Stevens, I warned you. No, it's okay, Ellie said as the orderly tried to pull an immovable Vicki away. I'll come and sit with her. She pushed herself up, stumbling and clutching the table as the pain took her breath away. Ellie closed her eyes, willing the tears away, and took some deep breaths. She had to toughen up, and now was as good a time as any. Ellie shuffled over to Vicki's table and sat down opposite her. The orderly hadn't moved. It's okay, Ellie said, and leaned over to take Vicki's hand. She'll be okay now. Why don't you just sit here to start with? Vicki whined as she sat down, shrugging out of the orderly's grip. He backed away, disappearing into the shadows. Probably still watching us, Ellie thought. I couldn't. Why not? Vicki thumped the table and Ellie frowned at her. Look at me, Vicki. What about you? Look at what they've done to me. You look okay to me. They do lots of stuff. You'll get used to it. Vicki picked at Ellie's food, her demeanour now calm. Ellie stared at the girl across from her. How can she say that? How can she not care? Deep down, Ellie knew the answer. She couldn't. Vicki looked up and smiled. I'm glad you're here, Ellie. You can be my friend. She took Ellie's hand and squeezed it. Ellie winced in response. There was one phone call Ellie felt she had to make, breaking her vow of silence. Leon Crowther, the manager of the Victoria Stevens Gallery, had a right to know where Ellie was. He went above and beyond every day as he kept an eye on Vicki, and Ellie didn't feel comfortable not telling him she was back. "Hi, Leon," Ellie said almost shyly as the diminutive, aloof man answered the phone. "Ellie, so you are alive? I was wondering." "Yeah, I know. It's been a few weeks and I'm sorry. Things got a bit, well, let's say I'm no longer in Brecon, or with the Scotsford police." "Why? What happened? With your job, I mean. The fact you've finally left that dreadful place is a relief." It's all wrapped up together, and to be honest, I don't want to talk about it. I'm here trying to put the whole mess behind me. I need to move forward." Ellie sighed and pushed the unwanted thoughts from her mind. Here, in Scotsford? One of Leon's many talents was respecting privacy, and Ellie knew he wouldn't ask her again. It was up to her to bring it up if she decided she wanted to talk about it. "Yeah, I finally moved into the cottage I bought before I went to Brecon. You remember?" "Yes, I do. And I also remember the dreadful state it was in. Please tell me you're not living in some derelict squat. If you need money, I can get it for her from her ladyship. God knows she owes you after everything you've done for her." No. I don't need money, and the cottage is finished. Craig got all the big stuff done before I moved in a few weeks ago. I've been painting ever since, and I'm about to tackle the garden. You know they have tradespeople for that, don't you? And some are rather easy on the eye too, if you're lucky. I needed to do this, Leon. It's helped me heal. Well, rather you than me, is all I can say. I am glad you're back, though, Ellie. Madam Stevens has been a bit of a handful of late. That's probably my fault. I've been calling, but she's not picking up. I guess you're enduring that? Well, her canvases are, but yes, she has been more tetchy than usual. I've bridges to rebuild, and I guess they're pretty big ones. I know I've been calling, but I'm not ready to face her yet. Soon, though, I promise. And I'm sorry for leaving you to deal with her alone. Oh, don't ever apologise. You know I can handle Ms. Crotchety. You focus on getting your strength back. We'll be here waiting when you're ready." "Do you think so? Do you think she'll talk to me?" "Oh, she'll talk to you, even if I have to use pointy objects to make her comply." "Let's hope it doesn't come to that," Ellie laughed, hearing Leon chuckling on the other end of the line. "Give me a few more weeks and I'll be there." "Take your time. We're not going anywhere. Despite her angst, some interesting work is coming from your return." "Oh, well, at least some good's coming out of it. Thanks again, Leon." "No need to thank me. Just look after yourself." Ellie heard shattering glass in the background. What was that? "Don't you worry your head. Just Madam having another tantrum. You know what she's like when she feels one's attention is inappropriately diverted. I best come in." "Don't you dare. As I said, I can handle this one. Get yourself well and then come. I have a feeling you'll be needing your strength." "Okay, if you're sure, I am. Now clean your garden or whatever it is you do in those flea-ridden places." "They're called insects," Ellie said, laughing. "And gardening is very therapeutic. You should try it sometime." "I don't think so. Bye, Ellie, and I look forward to your return when you are ready." "Bye, Leon," Ellie said, and returned the kiss he blew down the line. She disconnected the call and looked out of the window into the wilderness beyond, under no illusion that her garden would be far easier to tame than her best friend. 2 weeks after her call with Leon, Ellie collapsed onto the freestanding garden swing that had arrived that day, a glass of Jim Beam in her hand. She took a sip and pulled her wrap around her against the cooling evening as she surveyed her handiwork. Ellie had almost given in and brought in extra help, but she was determined to do it alone. She'd needed to. And now, as she basked in the neatly trimmed lawn, the colourful borders, the tame trees and bushes, and the clipped hedges, she sighed in satisfaction. She still had the orchard at the back to tackle, but the rest was done, and all by her own hand. The hard work had not only strengthened her body again, it had also been as therapeutic as she'd told Leon it would be. She'd taken all her anger, frustration and grief out on the wilderness her garden had been. This had given way to acceptance, hope, and a modicum of forgiveness as she brought her garden back to life. Ellie leaned her head back against the cushions. Her hair was still damp from the hot shower, and the drumming water had massaged her aching muscles. There was no doubt about it. She felt restored. It was time to reach out. And that's it for now. So I hope you'll tune in next week for another instalment of The Headhunter. Till then, bye-bye.